Hello and welcome back to the Innovate Eco podcast and the Startup Diaries. I'm your host, Rob, and I'm joined as ever with my co-host, co-founder of No Longer No, Matt. How's it going?
Hello. Yeah, good. It's been a while. We missed a week, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, we'll come on to that in this topic of today's discussion and things we want to talk about because it's very, fits into the mold of the conversation that I wanted to bring up today, which is around the challenges of building a business as a side hustle and trying to balance it with all other life things. And time just gets away from you, right? I think literally this time, I've been trying to do an episode of the normal podcast in the alternating weeks. But for some reason, a week just went and disappeared.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the importance of scheduling and things. But all it takes is a couple of weeks where one of us is really busy with work or one of us is ill or something like that. And it is really a
Yeah.
lesson in how difficult it can be to keep on schedule when you're trying to balance it with life.
Yeah. And we were just talking about how, not only we have our day jobs, but also other life things to fit around. I finally sorted out my direct debits after about 6 years of
Oh,
wanting to. Yeah, it's hard.
yeah, and I've got a 7-month-old, almost 8-month-old baby in the house and almost fell into perhaps a sense of this is all right. I can actually do quite a bit when he's napping, and he's actually at the start of, for anyone out there listening who's had a baby or currently has a baby, they at the start they do sleep a lot, and you do actually end up with lots of time where you're like, well, I'll just work on this website or working on the initial landing page. Did quite a bit, just sat there sometimes with the baby just chilling on my lap asleep, and actually maybe got a little bit complacent of how I could do quite a lot, and then all of a sudden it gets a bit older and it's like wants to do things, and it doesn't nap as often and there's not as much time. So that's been interesting, trying to adapt to that. And then it always, what life's like at the same time. Work, my day job gets really busy and there's loads
Yeah.
of events and I'm traveling all over the country and stuff, and everything happens at once. And then this momentum that we've started to build a bit starts to stutter, which is frustrating, but I'm sure very much the norm. Yeah, and it's just, I guess that's the topic I wanted to talk about a bit, is this idea of, and I posted about it on my Instagram as well, actually, around building something as a side hustle, and especially as it starts to build and you start to get a little bit of momentum. You're definitely not at that point. We're definitely not at that point where you feel like quit the jobs, go all in. We've got a financial runway and we can do that. And we're feeling confident and going all in. But the momentum has started to build a little bit. Like we've got subscribers and we've started to get a bit of interest and do a bit of media stuff and things like that. So probably quite a common challenging phase of building a business on the side. It's like you get to that point where you're like, I want to do more, but I don't feel quite ready to go all in.
Yeah. I feel like I'd want a little bit of a safety net before packing everything else in.
Do you think it's more almost as much psychological? I mean, there's obviously a financial side to things, but yeah, it's like if you had, let's say you got some funding from like I don't know, a fund or a grant or something like that that gave you like, even if it was something that you could probably save yourself, just that feeling of it's got a purpose. It's got a because this is something I did start looking into when I was frustrated the
Hmm.
last couple of weeks. Is around could just secure a little bit of money from a grant, which I've heard lots of startups doing. Like someone I had recently on a podcast from Mission to Marsh, they secured funding to go and do a film
Hmm.
to promote it, which basically gave them the money they needed, or maybe it wasn't even enough money to cover it. I didn't go into that detail, but it gave them the impetus to go, let's do this thing.
Yeah, so if I think I don't think it is just psychological. Like I
Yeah.
have faith in, I don't need, I think we're past the point of having to prove that what we're doing is a good idea. I think we've had enough positive feedback from people that we've never met. And yeah, I don't know. I would just be nervous about, I don't know, since we've been looking into trying to spread the word a bit further afield, just getting into advertising on social media and that kind of thing, and seeing how difficult it is and how competitive it is. I can imagine it being very stressful.
Yeah, it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? You feel like you did that, and then it's stressful at the moment because you're not putting. You feel like there's more energy that could be put into it and more doing more, but then would that just make you, if you're focusing 100% of your time and all of your identity and energy is behind it, if it doesn't work, then is that doubly painful?
And you're also sacrificing, like, I don't think I could just quit my job and then just be like, actually, can I come back now?
I think you personally, I think like that's you probably could. I feel like people are more worried about things like that than.
Interesting. I think in an ideal world, if things did start to snowball a bit, I would ramp down rather than have a hard break and
Yeah,
do like
interesting.
2 days a week or something.
And this is a bit of a, we're in a good position. I don't know, I'm speaking for you, but there are lots of elements of my job anyway that I still really enjoy and get a lot of value out of.
Mm.
The things that longer term, why I would rather maybe have my own business is that little bit of extra control and basic upside of it being my business rather than putting all my energy into something else. Like those are the pros and cons built of working on at another business. But yeah, if I absolutely hated it, or I worked, at the local like supermarket and hated my job, like it'd be much easier. Like right now, I've seen enough signals. I'd be like, fuck it.
Yeah,
If I
I'm the
had a little
same.
bit of savings or something like that, then I probably would just go all in.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm pretty much like working on a dream type of project at work at the moment.
God damn it.
I know, yeah. But these don't happen all the time. Like,
Yeah,
it's very much ebbs and flows. And I'm
exactly.
definitely in a peak. I'll be in a trough next year, I'm sure. But
That is what happens, isn't it? In pretty much every job, is that you go through these cycles of like, oh man, this is awful, I need to quit, and then oh
yeah,
maybe it's not so bad. And then I know so many people that have that, and then you kind of take a step back and convince yourself you should be grateful. Could be much worse. All
yeah,
these
yeah.
things.
Yeah, it's classic stuff. I don't know. I see more of my in the extra long term plan is this is my ticket out of London because you could run a t-shirt business from anywhere.
That's interesting. Yeah, not location specific, and yeah, it's
You, as someone who works from home full time, you could, in theory, live maybe not on the other side of the world because of time differences, but you have a lot more flexibility than I do, who is mandated to be in the office.
yeah, tricky. Yeah, I can. I do have to obviously be in places. I can pretty much live anywhere in the. It would make my life more painful for traveling to. Anyway, I do have to go into offices if I decided to live in the north of Scotland, but technically,
Yeah.
it's feasible. Yeah. So I mean, the reason this is on my mind, especially not just because I'm tired and I feel like I look tired.
You do sound a bit tired as well.
Yeah, so for anyone listening, I'm really putting it on. So like, not only do I look tired, but anyone that's listening in audio format can hear that I'm tired too.
Be mad if someone was watching and not listening.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. We might have some people that are just all in on subtitles.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we were testing for listeners, and anyone who's not following us. If you're following us on Instagram or social media, you might have seen that we posted an ad which we spent, what was it, a couple of weeks maybe back and forth developing the script and stuff like that. And we're fairly happy with it. So it's about a minute, just under a minute, and it's meant to be an explainer ad that just goes through the concept. And it was something that we could start. Our aim was to try and bring in more people from outside the bubble. Now we've spoken to a lot of friends and friends of friends and spread the word a little bit organically. Like, how do we inorganically get some more followers and stuff? Yeah, like I think that was the plan, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, it always felt like we needed somewhere that we could point people to for like a summary of all the things that we've been thinking about.
And it was, so we spent a lot of time thinking about it back and forth. And already, for context, we boosted a couple of our older posts I had just as a bit of a test run. One was literally just me talking about why we're building No Longer Known. There was no editing really, apart from some subtitles, and I threw in some very crude like images over the top. Just like it took me like 10 minutes to make, and boosted that one. Didn't put loads of money on it, and that converted not only to followers of my page, a few followers of the No Longer Known page as well, and I'm sure like at least 4 or 5 subscribers to the website.
Yeah.
So that gave me this little like, oh, like if we actually put some, that was really slapdash. If we actually put some thought and editing into it, maybe that will convert followers, etc. I haven't given you the, so I've ran the main ad on because so again, annoyingly, this is the thing, right? The things that kind of knock you when you feel like you're getting momentum are just annoying little administrative things that. So the No Longer Known account, for some reason, I think it's because me and Matt were logging into it on Instagram, wasn't allowed to post ads for some reason. The ad account was blocked. So trying to figure that out and figure out why and stuff like it's just a few hours of time that you could be spending doing something meaningful.
Yeah.
Sapped. So that was frustrating. But so I posted just from my account. So maybe let's like get your thoughts after on what you think and why, the reasons why this doesn't seem to be working. So I boosted it from my account, not the No Longer Known account. I've got like a few hundred. I've got like 400. So
I guess that makes it a fair test between the two because they're coming from your account.
And I think I put probably 4 days, similar amount of money as to what I did on the other one. Same audience profile. So I was looking at brands like Patagonia and like also people that do like, I was trying to think the kind of avatar that we were looking at, and for the initial people, obviously we're trying to like break out of the mold. That's the whole point of the brand, but to get that initial momentum of people that don't need as much convincing. So like clothing brands that have a similar mission, and
like photography,
things like wildlife photography and travel, things like that I thought would be the fit into the avatar of people we imagined buying it. So did that, boosted it, and just looking at the stats now. So for the reel, got 3,190 views over 4 days.
This is for the advert.
That's for the ad, yeah. And that got so just 2,300 were from the ad, so the other ones must have been organic. And the goal I set for this one was to get people to the website. And this is where I would like to get your thoughts and interest, because maybe that's jumping too quickly. And does the website, I mean, this throws up so many questions. Like, is the website not not doing a good enough job of converting? Is it not clear enough? It's not inspiring enough? Does it not look polished enough?
Interesting.
Or so we got 70 from those 2,000. So they got 77 website visits, which is not bad. I think it tells you how much, 15p per website visit. So it's not like, that's not terrible, I don't think. Like people that are clicking through to look at the website and learn more on the ad. But we didn't get any from those 77. We didn't get anyone subscribe.
Interesting.
And
yeah,
let's quickly compare it to the other one, which did get some subscribers, which was, I'll cut this. Got a similar, like I said, it's very similar numbers, but it got way more likes. Got 108 likes, and the other one only got like 20 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it got for a similar amount of views. So 3,000 views compared to like 2,200. So not like loads more. But I think interestingly, I had that as instead of website visits, I had it as profile views. They're like,
Oh,
oh,
your camera's gone off.
no. I'll just do that again. But instead of website visits, I had it as profile views, which you
For
think,
your profile or
yeah, my profile,
interesting.
I believe, yeah, because I don't think you can't get people to view a different
Yeah,
profile.
yeah.
So weirdly, there was like an extra step, like that they had to take, like they had to go to my profile, see maybe like I think I've got the link to the no longer known profile in there. It's like adding in extra steps, which I thought would be a bad thing, but led in the end to a few like 3 or 4 definite subscribers and follows
Yeah, we got
from.
way more followers to the account from that.
So this throws up loads of questions. Like, one, is the ad not getting to the point quick enough, not in the right order? Like, I think we have to go out and test some of the theories and test a few things, which is kind of fun, but also, as I was saying, this is the kind of thing that knocks your momentum a bit. Like, I was feeling really positive when we did that other ad because it was so like long. It was just like put it out there. It took me like 10 minutes to do, and then, whereas this took like 2 weeks,
Yeah,
and we got no subscribers from it.
yeah, yeah. It's that thing of, I don't know, 'cause it reminds me of applying for jobs or something. Like, the more effort you put into writing a cover letter, the more it hurts when they reject you.
Mm.
I don't know. It could be a number of things. I think I do kind of agree maybe with what you're saying about that extra step.
Not as forced, is it? It's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
not
like
make
subscribe
your
to
own.
this thing, if like I can't even remember what I think, like the new ad was very much like go to the website, sign up. Whereas I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure like the original one was like
find out more.
find out, go to no longer known to find out more or something. It wasn't like
Yeah.
join the launch list. It was
There
just
is, I think my personality is also like, I would respond better to like finding my own way there to someone telling me to sign up to something. So I don't know if that's it. I think you could argue as well, if we were driving followers, and even if they didn't go to the website at that point, we could, whilst when we have them in our reach as a follower, we could then like use stories and other means of like guiding them towards the website once we have them like in our control, not control, but like
yeah.
influence.
It's basically it's marketing principles, right? Isn't it? There's a funnel. The classic, you can't jump too quickly. You want to jump to the end of the funnel, sell immediately,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
particularly with something like what we're building, you can do that if you're solving an immediate problem. It's like,
Mm.
do you know why I'm always thinking about like back scratches or something? It's like maybe I've got an itchy
Have you
back,
got a back
but
rub?
like if you had an itchy back and you saw an ad for a back scratcher on Instagram, like there's a chance that you don't have to like learn about the founders and like the journey
Yeah, yeah,
and listen to their podcast, like back scratching podcast. Like you just buy it because you've got an itchy back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
And
it's true.
we've got like a more sophisticated funnel, and we'll get the odd people just sign up. But I think there's such a story and narrative behind it. And I do think there is something, maybe the website does need to improve, but I don't want to. I think there's a bigger lesson than here and an easier fix for testing ads and stuff than just like getting stressed and trying to like make the website incredible. I think there's
Yeah, yeah, I think I agree. That is like my natural reaction. It's like, it's not perfect. I think that's why we're like a good pairing, because my instinct is to make everything absolutely perfect, but would never actually end up doing anything. Whereas you're very much like, let's just do it and fix it later. And hopefully, like, the tension between those two things
yeah,
will create something good. But yeah,
yeah,
I think the
definitely,
fact that
definitely.
we actually have a website that is, I went on it yesterday. I think it's fine for the current situation. I would like it to be much more refined and polished, but I think for now it's fine. And yeah, it's more about like pushing forwards on this kind of experimentation with different means of spreading the word. But yeah, I don't know, it's interesting what you were saying as well about the time it took you to record the first video. Is there something to be said about like the authenticity rather than like it feeling like someone's trying to sell you something. It's more like, oh, I'm just a guy trying to live his life.
Yeah, I genuinely, I think that is 100% what it is. I
Yeah.
think I've the ad is almost too polished, too obvious that you're trying to sell something, right? We naturally think again, it's like what you're saying with the website. People only buy stuff because if it's super polished. I think that's quite an old way of thinking, weirdly now, especially with social media. Like people do like in the age of everything being over polished and AI generated in some cases. I think people are looking for real humans that are obviously not AI generated
Yeah, it's true.
to buy. So and stories. So I think the fundamental lesson for me is to try more, just try and get more people to follow me, you, and like the account like organically, like,
Yeah.
and then follow the account because they're interested in the account rather than like pushing straight. It seems obvious saying it out loud now, getting people from a polished ad straight to their website to sign up is,
Especially when there isn't anything for them to buy yet.
yeah, that's clearly not working. But I'm not the fact that I didn't spend a fortune on the ad. And yeah, it was annoying that we can still probably use it and maybe tweak it a bit, and we'll get the feedback from Jack, who we had on an earlier episode. I think I'm still keen to get him to do something a bit more polished for maybe for on the website or something, or maybe that's, or I don't know what we do with it, but like it could be something that we can use on social media in portrait, and then also use like on the website in a kind of landscape format. We need to,
Yeah. I still think we should use what we have. Still get unblocked on our account and do see what happens when we boost it on there. Maybe we can try cutting it down a bit into like smaller sections. But even
yeah,
if it doesn't do anything, I still think it's handy to have it. You can like pin posts on your page so they're always at the top, and I think just having that as a explainer to anyone to be like quickly understand the whole thing, I think.
yeah. And I've kind of put some budget into our, it's one of the things that makes it feel real. Our joint bank account, which is and oh god, and this is something that people have said before. You don't get bogged down in the mundane like admin. Just get going and just build stuff and like think about that. But things like that, and I've been signing up for like the getting the brand, what's it called, the trademark registered, things like that, which just take little bits of time. But anyway,
That
side
is
note,
good though.
put some budget into our like, the joint account, which is like earmarked for just testing ads basically and trying to build a following. So I don't feel that's in there for that purpose. If I was kind of drawing it from, I think that's quite, I've always found that a nice way to build stuff like this is you just earmark like a pot for stuff, and then you're not like feeling really disheartened that it's coming out of your personal account every time an ad doesn't work. It's like that's part of the pot. Like part of it
Yeah.
is testing stuff, seeing what works. So some of it will.
Yeah, agreed. And that also reminds me that I haven't really posted anything. Well, I've done one post on my personal NLK account, so I feel like I should do some. I did record some stuff of me trying on t-shirts. I was going to do one that's like talking through our thoughts on the various fits of the experimentation that we've been doing around t-shirts. But yeah, I feel like it needs to be like at least one a week of just like,
And this is going to pain you a bit, I think, but I think the lower friction, like based on the the feedback we've gotten, we'll obviously keep testing. But from our gut thinking and what you were saying around authenticity, I'm just going to try and post more, just really quick, rough and ready stuff
yeah,
without too much editing, because it's just about like momentum beats motivation is the classic phase
yeah,
that people like to use. Like if you wait for when you're feeling motivated, like every so often I get a day where I've got some time, like oh my god, like I could spend hours like for that last ad, getting it perfect, and I get really into it, and then I'm like feel really good about it, post it, and it doesn't do anything, and then you lose that motivation. Whereas if you just keep trying to regularly, like even if it's just once a week at the start, like something you can realistically do. But I'm going to try and do one video a week, and then maybe a couple of stories in between. That feels like it's realistic. I think when you try and go, I'm going to do something every day, like, you can do
yeah.
that for a week, and then you will. I'll tell you now, you will burn out.
Yeah. Well, and so that one that you did that was candid, he still had these images that would like pop up in relation to what you were saying. Did you, how did you do that?
I did it on Riverside actually because it's really easy, which is what we're recording the podcast on. So, but you could do it on Canva, or
Yeah.
you could do it on Instagram.
Yeah, I feel like for me, if I could just record it on my phone and do everything in the app, that would
I think
really,
just give yourself the constraint,
the
right?
level of
Like just
resistance.
say now, like I'm only going to edit in Instagram, and you can do like
Yeah.
you see what people do on like with no video editing experience on TikTok and stuff, and it's like, and I think you were mentioning it earlier, and you said you had some thoughts on this, like posting across multiple accounts potentially, doing think like making it easier. There must be tools out there. Like, I've been manually posting to TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and I think I need to find a tool that just does it across them
Yeah.
all.
Also, there's a thing. So, my only other experience of doing something similar to this was when me and a couple of friends hosted like a club night, which we set up an Instagram account for to spread the word.
Yeah.
And one thing that we did, which was quite successful, was collaborative posts,
Mm,
where like if you do a post, you can like invite other accounts as collaborators, and it'll basically appear on their accounts as well in exactly the same way, which is really helpful because like one of the DJs who was playing at our night had like 2,000 followers and we had like
yeah,
100. So it instantly would go to like 2,000 extra people who we don't have.
yeah,
Um, and then yeah, so like that account ended up getting like 200 followers quite quickly without us really trying. And yeah, I was just thinking this like early stages, you've already got like 400 followers or something, doing the NLK posts with you as a collaborator, or you and me, but I'm not, my
yeah.
3 followers aren't gonna. But yeah, things like that might be good for certain posts. Maybe not for like the really candid ones, but for the more, I guess the ones that are coming straight out of the NLK account, we could all collaborate on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there must be tools for like streamlining that kind of thing.
And we've talked in the past about maybe getting like I don't know how early it might be useful to test like a social media manager almost.
Mm,
Like, is it something we trial for? Try and find someone who's junior and just wants to get some work experience and
mm.
like on Fiverr or something. Or actually, we got followed by a couple of people who clearly do that. Who comment on a couple of posts.
But like, what would they? How much control would we be giving them?
Where we still have to make like the videos and
Yeah, I was thinking one thing coming out of the NLK account, the first like 6 or whatever posts were kind of explaining the concept in a kind of broken down form. And then there's the advert kind of thing, explain a video, where like what do we post from that account now that we've done that and to like maintain like a regular thing. One of the things I was thinking was, I think we talked about this a while ago, doing like kind of top Trump's kind of animal highlight feature where we kind of like spotlight different animals. I can see that if it's something quite interesting, like a weird animal, it might grab people's attention and then they find out about us through that. I don't know.
yeah, because you could test that. You could test boosting those,
Yeah, it's like a slightly more, yeah, like we were saying, it's not like selling someone the thing, it's like spreading
spreading the
the,
word. Yeah,
yeah.
things. I think we need to start. Yeah, thinking about creative things like that. That are again not too difficult to make. You could do. Yeah, I could imagine like a Pokemon card or something.
Yeah, I was thinking like,
Take like rip off, like just as a little bit of like
yeah,
tongue in cheek.
I don't think it'd be that hard to do either in the kind of black and white style that we've got.
Yeah,
And then it's just the same format every time with the like statistics coming from the IECN Red List website of
yeah,
like how many there are, where they are, like a picture of it, and just like simple stats. Could be quite interesting.
yeah. I like that. I like that idea.
And I think like could spend a day doing like 20, and
Yeah,
then that's like 20 weeks worth of animals.
yeah. I think that's a good idea. And I keep thinking, oh, maybe. I am just going to use my account as the one that is the more organic. Just like
Hmm.
we think we've talked about this before. It's that I do like the idea of the no longer known account being a bit more polished, but we should probably just do more like I don't know, stories or things, or whether it's reels that just don't appear on the main page.
Can you do that?
You can unpin them, or you can like make them not appear in the grid.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can click on the post and say remove from main grid.
I didn't know that. Yeah, because it's yeah.
Yeah, so it's like then if you can do that and you just keep the main grid quite created. Like I
Yeah.
noticed, shout out to Salt again, who I like to keep an eye on as like a parallel brand that are doing a very similar thing and seem to be getting a lot of traction in the marketing media for like how well they're doing things. They started off with three different accounts. One, the main brand one being quite polished, and then one of the two founders posting about what they were up to. And I noticed they pivoted to just putting everything on the main account like a month ago,
Interesting.
and just aren't as worried about it looking super polished, I guess. So I guess maybe they waited until people knew who they were and they were behind the brand. Because if you started doing that straight away when people didn't know who we were, then maybe you have to get to a critical mass of followers. Because otherwise it might be a bit like, I do like the idea of posting from my account because it's more like me.
Yeah.
And then I talk about it rather than like if we started putting us posting on the no longer known account again, it feels a bit too salesy. And yeah,
I
I don't
guess
know.
they must still have their personal accounts, so they're just posting on both, or
Yeah, not as much. I think they mainly they don't post on their personal accounts as much
uh,
about the brand. They just post straight to the main account.
well, yeah, maybe we'll get to that point.
I think for now, let's not overcomplicate things. Just keep it the plan.
I also like the kind of, I guess this is because I'm the risk averse personality, but just the safety net of having the slightly scrappier content on my personal account. It's like not tarnishing the brand.
I personally, I'm not as worried about that because we're building it a little bit with the way we're trying to build it. But I agree, like it makes it feeds in a little bit to the um unpolishedness, and if we're trying to create something that's a bit premium. So let's just stick with the strategy for now. But I think I'm going to try and do more just quick, rough and ready videos, just like I have been doing that seem to work. When you break it down, it seems quite logical. Maybe I am thinking with that ad, the polished ad, that it just doesn't get to the point quick enough. It's if I was scrolling through, like it either needs to start, I think, with a more striking image
Mm.
that's going to get people to go like, I'll click on, I'll listen more.
More striking than your face.
Yeah. Or it needs to just go like start with something a bit more controversial, like I think the other one started with like here's the truth about conservation or something. It's like that's a more of a like, oh, maybe I'll listen, rather than the new one starts with every three species go extinct every hour, which maybe people are just numb to shit like that. Just like, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's true. I saw a suggestion. There's like a video where someone was suggesting what like five first lines for your post, and they were all
Mm.
like massively kind of like you no one's telling you this, or like
Yes. So here's the truth about conservation is like listen because I'm going to tell you. Whereas if I start with three species go extinct every hour, there's no hook.
yeah,
It's like a micro hook. I'm
yeah,
sure this is like a marketing term.
you're not gonna
So
believe how many species are going extinct every hour.
yeah, do you know or something? I think like we need to go back to revisit it and parallel test it with like some other intro, and then we
Yeah,
can
I
decide if
think
that
it's there's definitely a thing. I notice
split
it
test.
with me sometimes. I'll just be watching something that I don't even care about, but because they teased something that I want the conclusion for, I will just watch it. Some of it is annoying. I really hate it when they're like, you've been doing this wrong your whole life. And it's like,
Yeah.
don't tell me.
I know what you mean. You've been peeling a banana wrong. You're like,
Yeah.
your whole life, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you.
You're actually meant to peel an avocado by smashing your face into it.
Yeah, yeah, put up your bum.
I know those kind of videos, but maybe we started saving into our Miro the ads that we liked for inspiration for no longer known ads.
Mm.
But maybe we have a subsection which is not necessarily ads we like or want to copy, but ads that we like or videos that we just ended up watching.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That because we are kind of our own avatar in a way. Like we like the brand.
I think so.
I feel like we are the kind of people we're trying to get to subscribe initially. So it's like what makes me watch and what would I click on?
Yeah, and I think there's like it's obviously a fine line. Some of that kind of shit is really annoying, but I think you can do it well. Where it's just like, yeah, creating suspense and intrigue without being insufferable. Like I think we can balance it.
Okay.
I think also I just need to bite the bullet and just I have lots of thoughts of things like about like the design aspects of the brand, which I feel like I could just voice those thoughts in a video, and then that becomes like
Yeah, I like the like bit like the face videos clearly create trust and like get
yeah,
people to know your identity. And they're really easy to do quickly. But if you, I don't know, like initially, if it makes you cringe too much, you just hate it. I could imagine some videos from you of like unboxing or like, you're behind the camera, like for
yeah.
POV, as they would call it.
Well, that was what it was going to be for the. So, like, I filmed myself trying on all these t-shirts,
Yeah.
but I'm not talking to the camera. I'm just like putting them on and doing a little twirl. I was gonna just edit that together and then do like a voiceover of like me talking about each one and what we liked and didn't like, and I find that a
Yeah.
little less cringy because it's
Yeah, if you could like, I
not
could
your way of doing
imagine in
it.
my mind now, like if you can quickly edit it in the app or something,
Yeah,
and then just chop it up, and I'd like try and just set yourself a time limit of half an hour to edit or something,
yeah,
and just
yeah,
get it
yeah.
out there. Because your account's still new. We can post it on the stories, but
There's nothing to lose.
there's nothing to lose. I don't think.
Yeah, cool. That sounds good.
And there's your weekly mission. So yeah, I think we've covered quite a lot around this topic of the side hustle dilemma, why it's feeling spread thin, and how things like that can really take away from the momentum, and just reminding ourselves that it's more about it is about momentum and not necessarily about motivation. So I'll keep reminding myself of that. Maybe I'll write it on the wall.
Yeah, I know that you're a big proponent of the resistance
Yeah.
theory. I feel like I need to think about that, about just removing as many barriers as possible. Like what you were saying about just doing everything on Instagram. I feel like having to upload videos to my computer, edit it in Canva, download
Yeah.
it, add it to Instagram. That's just too much that I just put it off indefinitely. So I think just keeping
Yeah,
it all
I'm
in
going to
one
remind
place.
myself of that. Yeah, this is one of my favorite books of all time, which is such a basic book called The War of Art, which you're right. I talk about a lot because it's like a book that I have to constantly remind myself, which is Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art, and it's quite a simple book. He's a writer, like an author. He wrote fiction, and then he wrote just out of the blue wrote this like his most popular book, which is
Hmm.
ironic. And he gets interviewed about all the time, which I think it annoys him slightly, but it's just about his process around how he gets, and he came up with this theory of resistance and how it's about just showing up, and on the days where you don't feel like it, just putting in a regular schedule, and then there'll be some days where you feel really motivated and some days you won't, but you just need to keep doing it, and and then just not. There's the resistance is all these. It manifests itself in all these different ways, like, oh, I'm not quite ready, or oh, I'm going to look like an idiot, or whatever. And actually, like all that's just this, almost like a a persona of this resistance that like pops up in all those moments, and then that stops you from doing stuff. I've actually got it taped on my wall. A quote from the book,
Oh, nice.
which is this is a quote from the book, which is, "There's a secret that real writers know that wannabe writers don't, and the secret is this: it's not the writing that's the hard part. What's hard is sitting down to write. What keeps us from sitting is resistance." There you go.
Nice.
I'll put it back on the wall. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that, so I'm gonna try and live up to that a bit more, even when don't feel. Oh, look, I think there was a moth behind it.
No.
Nature's returned. Like, is there anything else, like, into topics of this kind of side hustle idea? Like, is there anything else that you're finding? I've written down in my notes like split personality, or not feeling like you can put all your energy into it. Like there's quite a bit of crossover with my job, obviously, and the topic of biodiversity loss and things. But yeah, interested in your thoughts, and I know when it comes up in conversation, like almost feeling a bit like, because it's not my whole thing, a little bit shy. I feel like I need to be bolder and get on some more podcasts and other people's
Yeah.
podcasts and talk about it more openly, like when I'm at the pub or whatever, like I've told friends, but like to the wider people. And yeah, I don't know. Like, do you find that a challenge to, like, it's almost like having to have not a split personality, but like split agendas? Like, it's not.
Yeah. I guess my mindset has been obviously like I friends and a couple of colleagues, but I don't know if you have the same mindset, but I've basically just been thinking I know some people who have like started little businesses and they've like basically hammered it massively in their like friendship circles to like get everyone to like follow what they're doing and like buy their things. It's just like, this isn't going to be a
Did it
successful
work?
business. But no, I don't know. You're never going to have a successful business because at the best there's like 100 people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
we
yeah.
need way more than that. So I'm kind
Do
of
they know other people?
well, yeah, like I don't know, I guess. But it's that kind of thing about the authenticity thing. I really hate when people are like, tell everyone, don't forget to sign up, and like, oh, do you mind just sharing this on your account? I'd be like,
Yeah, I don't necessarily mean that. I mean just like talking louder and
yeah,
more widely about it.
I definitely could do that. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't. I don't know who I'd be talking to that would be that useful. I feel like you, in your sphere, you talk to more interesting people, whereas I kind of just talk to the same people all the time.
I think there's a mix of the people that are already there, and I kind of mean more going out and finding those people.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, like, getting on. I'm gonna do more work getting on LinkedIn or on
Mm,
Instagram and trying to find people who, and just tell them about it, like that kind of thing. I mean, more like, not like going to your existing friends and annoying them. That's not
yeah,
what I meant.
or walking around the pub, just
Yeah.
talking to random people. Yeah, okay.
Like, it's things like people have, when we mentioned the idea like initially, and I'll get some people reaching out going, oh, if you want to learn about sustainable fashion, like, this person's really good. Like, I
Mm,
might like reach out to them and tell them about it. Maybe we try and get some more people on the podcast,
yeah,
and then you don't know, they probably know someone who knows someone
yeah.
who knows someone.
I think that's a
And
good
then it's
idea.
just, that's a nice way to build it.
And like, I feel like we should definitely do that with getting people to talk to on the podcast because it'll just be a nice way of learning more. I think it's that thing of like, they'll probably bring up things that we've not even considered, and then that'll open up whole new avenues, rather than just like trying to guess what we should be doing or Googling what we should be doing. And yeah, obviously
Agreed.
they would come with their own networks and maybe it'll snowball.
And it's a good way to practice going on other podcasts or other mediums. It's a good way to practice the elevator pitch and
That's true.
things like that.
And hopefully at some point people will invite us on their podcast
Yeah.
when we're on Joe Rogan or something.
Well, I know I was going to try and get on some, and just like reach out to some podcasts and see if we can get on. Because I know, as hosting a podcast, when people reach out, I quite often say yes if it's an interesting
Mm,
idea. It's actually quite useful because it's quite hard to find things. So I might do that.
yeah. Nice.
Okay. Well, we've covered a lot of ground there. I'm feeling better about things now. It's good to talk these things through.
You never did the elevator pitch today. Is it too
Yeah,
late?
I'll do it at the end. I'll do it now.
Okay. Well, I've also got a quiz,
Yeah,
which we
so
should have
we'll
teased. We're really
do.
bad at teasing the quiz because I know it's the reason why everyone listens.
Yeah, I think people just assume there's a quiz now. They should
Mm.
do because there is always a quiz. So shall I do the? I'll do the elevator pitch, and then we can go into the quiz. So let me have a go. I'm tired. I'm feeling rusty. This we could be a couple of steps back here, but let's give it a go.
But this could happen. You could have had a late night and
I
you're
know, and
just
you're in like the elevator in the morning on the
going
way down
down
to
to
breakfast.
breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we go. Right. So we are building No Longer Known, which is a aiming to be a planet positive, sustainable clothing brand where we're doing limited drop items of clothing where the number of that piece of clothing is linked to the number of an endangered species in the wild, one that most of us have probably never even heard of. The idea is to draw awareness and raise awareness. Oh, this is terrible. Raise awareness of those species and the topic of biodiversity loss to the wider public. Each item will be a unique piece of artwork created in collaboration with an artist local to where that species is found. And there'll be money from each t-shirt going to a conservation organization that is working to help that particular species or region in question. I think that's it.
Yeah. I
So a
think
couple of stumbles there.
you got all the
I
information across.
hopefully they hung around for like a couple of seconds after we left the lift
Yeah.
before leaving the lobby of the building and got that last bit. But
Yeah.
the crux of it's there.
Nice.
And I guess that's what the advert was trying to do was the elevator pitch. So I'm going to post at some point in this episode if it made sense. I'll post both those ads, and if anyone's listening and has thoughts and feedback on why it didn't work, or just on the elevator pitch in general, if you think
Yeah.
it's a bit long or there's something that's missing, it's not quite captivating enough, then do let us know.
I whilst it's in my mind, I just remembered we should talk about what percentage of profits we think should go to the organization and artists and that kind of thing. I think it's quite an interesting thing to talk about when we get into the business model side of things and how much you want to charge for the t-shirt and that.
Yeah.
I recently bought a print, like an art print from a like local artist
Mm.
who it was like, well, it wasn't loads, it was like 100 quid, but for what it was, it's quite expensive. And their thing was that 50% of the money was going to help with like a cause that I care quite a lot about.
No,
So
no.
that like immediately, just the fact that it was 50% made it like there's like no bullshit. It is like just as much about him as it is the
Mm.
cause, and it's like a big. Obviously, like if we were going to do that, it's a big swing.
Was it 50% of the revenue? 50% of the profits?
Good question.
This is this subtle
Yeah,
nuances like that in the language because some companies say all profits go to some cause,
but they're not making any
even
money.
but no, but like because you're allowed to say that if you're like after you've paid your staff, i.e. us.
Yeah,
So
I believe that.
like I think Patagonia might even be one of those brands that say that. Like on some of they're like all profits go into nature or something. But that's because they pay all their staff and their overheads and their marketing and all that first.
Yeah,
So I don't want to mislead people, but if that's what other brands are doing, then
yeah, because I think that makes sense because like otherwise it wouldn't last very long if we couldn't sustain ourselves. Obviously, it'd be
yeah.
bad if we were paying ourselves loads and like.
But like it's quite a difference from saying like 20%. So it's like if when we say like 20% of the revenue, 10% of the revenue,
Mm,
like is it more impactful? This is a whole topic. We'll do an episode on this in the
true.
future, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Like language around, I think it's more powerful to say all profits are split between the artist and species or whatever.
I
And then
mean,
we just include but it's whether we want to include the artist fee like within the pre-profit number. I don't know.
yeah, it's a whole thing to think about. But yeah, I think um, it's a lot more impactful because I think when we were just doing quick drafts of the website, it was like 20% to the artist, 20% to the
Yeah, we were
animal.
just throwing numbers out there. We haven't done
Yeah.
any figures behind the scenes, so
Whereas, yeah, I feel like if it's, but you could quite quick, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like the way you frame it because you could quite easily change that to 25% to the artist, 25% to animal, then that's 50% of profits, which then already feels like more significant.
yeah. So we want to be clear and transparent from the start and not mislead anyone. So I'll at some point look into what other brands are doing, how we do that, how we talk about it. The reality is to everyone, and that it's built into the brand that we want to support artists and uh, we want to support artists and we want to support these endangered species and help them, but through a profit, put through a business, not through a charity. That's the
Yeah.
whole point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Work out the language and stuff is later. We just want it to have an impact. We don't want it to just be a token thing. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
built. It needs to be built into the business model.
Nice. Okay. Well,
Okay.
that's for a later date.
For a later episode,
But quickly, before we run out of time,
I'm going to the quiz.
I've got a quiz.
Yeah,
Do you want
Brill.
to do
Let's have a quiz.
transition?
Yeah, I'll do a transition.
Nice. That sound effect kind of sounds like someone's being punched.
Yeah.
So yes, because we've talked a lot about spreading the word on social media, I thought it'd be a fun idea to do a quiz based around, social media. 6 questions, nothing too complicated, but I think there's a couple of interesting things that you might learn. So question 1, which platform had the highest number of active users globally as of 2025? And the options are TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Hmm. Interesting. Like Gut says TikTok, but maybe it's actually yes, go YouTube.
No, interestingly, it's Facebook. And
Wow.
I think
Really?
specifically outside of North America and the UK, I think in developing countries, Facebook is like a lot more common. So globally, apparently Facebook still has the largest global user base. Not
Wow.
that that will affect us necessarily. I think our target markets, well, we'll get into that.
And we can post, yeah, we can post on Facebook from directly from Instagram, can't we? I need to
Yeah,
set
we
that up.
do need to
So
set that up. Yeah.
yes.
How many active users does Instagram have? A, 500,000, B, a billion, C, 2 billion, or D, 5 billion?
I don't think it's 5 billion. Although saying that, people have multiple accounts, don't
Yeah,
they?
I don't know if this factors in that. Active users, I guess it might do, yeah.
Yeah, active though. I don't think that can be any more than a billion, surely. A billion active users.
Ooh, you're a billion off. It's it's 2 billion, which is crazy.
I mean, yeah, that is crazy. Like that. If only every had one account, that's like one in every 8 people, or whatever the global
Yeah,
population is now, which is insane.
that is insane. Okay, not doing too well so far. 0 for 2.
We don't keep the score. It's just fun. Just a bit of fun.
Well, I keep the score.
Okay.
3. What is the best time to post on most platforms for maximum engagement? And I guess, well, yeah, I don't know how this person was working it out, but I assume it's when most people are using their platforms. And this is, well, yeah, okay. Is it A, between midnight and 2 a.m., B, between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., C, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., or D, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m.?
Mm.
They're
So
that, the
this is in their
options.
country. Yeah.
This is just in general, so I guess globally, but I guess it might be targeted towards North America because the majority of users. Weirdly, the options don't include what I would have guessed, which I would have guessed like PM till 8 p.m. when people are like finishing work and
I think it's morning when people get a bit. I remember looking into this for LinkedIn, like when people are getting a bit tired, like they maybe gone for their first break, and they're
Okay.
like they've still got a bit of energy, but they're just ready to scroll. So I'm gonna go like early morning. What was there was an option?
There was B, which is 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., or C, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Yeah, I might go for that one.
Correct. Very good logic. I think that is the reason.
Late morning to like towards lunchtime. Yeah.
Yeah, people are getting bored at work. Okay, one right. What country has the most Instagram users? Is it A, the USA, B, China, C, Brazil, or D, India?
Well, you literally said before that's like USA. That's where the most users are.
I
So I
did
don't know if
it.
that was
Well,
a Freudian slip, but I'm gonna go for that.
that might have been a curveball. You shouldn't listen to what I say.
Don't listen. Well, I don't think it's China. I feel like they've got their own apps, like that are just the Chinese version, but slightly different, that people use. So it could be India, but I feel like I'm just still going to go with North America.
It is actually India. I
What?
guess just from a pure like population standpoint.
Yeah, but I just thought maybe they would be on like Facebook. Like you were saying before, I didn't. Wow, we should probably go all in on the Indian market.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Well, some of the artists that I was looking at when I was doing initial scoping for like grassroots artists, there were some really interesting people in India. So, um, yeah, I'm up for it. So I'm just gonna look up the actual statistics for this. Because I remember it being kind of interesting. Oh yeah, so it goes India with the most, then America, then Brazil, then Indonesia. So China's not even in there.
Yeah, now that's as I said. I think they do use. They're not allowed to use American apps or something. They have
Oh yeah,
their
that
own
would make
versions.
sense.
Like with WhatsApp, they have some other version that they all
Yeah,
use.
but then it's like the numbers are kind of mad. So Indonesia, 103 million users.
Yeah,
Brazil, 140. USA, 171. And
yeah.
then India, 413 million. It's like almost triple
And
the
that I
amount.
guess that's it. That's not. That's only like one in because isn't it like there's over a billion people in India, so it's
Yeah,
not. It's
as a
like one every four
percentage.
people. Yeah, so that's interesting.
But then
And
it's like this whole thing. I remember when we were looking, when you had your website, it's like the market value is obviously less if the population has less like disposable income and this kind
yeah,
of thing. And yeah,
yes,
but it's interesting.
yeah.
Okay, two more questions to go. Which of the following apps is used by the greatest percentage of American Gen Zs? Um, so this is kind of related to the first question. Is it YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, or TikTok?
Tell me the question again.
Which of the following is used by the greatest percentage of American Gen Z?
Oh, Gen Z. It's got to be TikTok,
See, I feel like
or
I'm
is it
just giving you
YouTube?
loads of
Because
trick questions. So I would have thought TikTok, but it is
maybe
YouTube, and I
yeah,
think
YouTube because they maybe yeah. I think it was one of those two.
if you
Yeah,
factor in like obviously TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat are all kind of fighting for the same
yeah.
thing of like short attention spans. YouTube's also doing that, but then they also have like educational resources, like long format
Full
videos.
episode, like 10-minute videos that kids will sit
Yeah.
down and watch. Yeah.
So yeah, it was actually YouTube by quite a long way, apparently.
And that's interesting for us. I do feel like there's a big part of our, it's a bit of a longer play, but once we get the brand up and running to like build the audience even more,
Mm.
like doing videos of going to find artists or going to,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
the
as part
dream.
of the brand. That is the dream. But like that's as a way to keep the momentum and keep the interest. I think YouTube will be a big part of. I could see
Yeah.
YouTube being a big part of our brand in the future.
Yeah, agreed. And final question, who is the most followed account on Instagram? Is it A, Cristiano Ronaldo? Is it B, Dwayne brackets The Rock Johnson? Is it C, Selena Gomez? Or is it D, Instagram?
Yeah, good. I think it's Cristiano Ronaldo, unless he's been overtaken by The Rock.
It's actually Instagram's own account by like, it's quite close. Cristiano Ronaldo was second. Um, with like
And maybe I've heard that fact
600
before, but they didn't
million.
include Instagram in the stats.
Yeah, I think like he's the most followed
Most
person.
followed person. What a horrible question. What a
I
horrible
know, yeah,
quiz.
it's just lots of it's a minefield
I think I got
today's.
tricked this morning multiple times.
But you got one right,
Yes.
which I believe is a personal best.
Look, hopefully some people at home who are playing along.
I think it's good. I do find that fascinating. Like, who's following Instagram? Like, I don't know. Maybe they're posting
Maybe
loads of
you
great content.
default follow them when you sign up or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Anyway, there you go.
Nice. Thanks for that quiz. That was good. And thanks for the topic, chatting through the topic of the struggles and the ups and downs of the challenge of building this business. It's been therapeutic.
Yeah.
We'll carry on, keep testing stuff. I'm trying to remind myself that these fail moments are actually just lessons and it's fine.
Yeah, everything's a lesson.
Everything's a
The
lesson.
cost of a lesson. Yeah, and let's keep an eye out for some more candid content on our various Instagram pages.
Yeah, I'll put a link to all the various pages we haven't already started following, and we'll.
I'm going to post one today. I've decided that one
Okay.
of me trying on t-shirts.
Yeah, do it. Don't spend too long on it.
Yeah,
Edit it all in app.
I've got an hour now.
Brill. There you go. There's your challenge. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Easy.
I'll put it on my story.
Nice.
See you later.
All right, see you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.